Today, you are going to discover something that has been hidden, something that the angels wanted you to know at this very moment. There is a powerful force working in your favor, connecting you and the person who stirs your heart so deeply. Do you know that feeling that something is about to change? It's not by chance. This special person is beginning to feel, intensely and profoundly, the importance you have in their life. And the best part? This change is inevitable. It's a response to the energy you emit, an energy that is finally being recognized. Stay with me, because what comes next will surprise you. This person, who was once just another person in your life, now places you in a special place, almost as if they have discovered something valuable that has always been there but only now they have managed to see. It's not a change that happened overnight, but rather something that has been growing, gradually shaping itself into this unique perception. They have started to notice that between you there is a harmony, a connection that goes beyond what is usually seen out there. It's not just another relationship, it's not just another friendship or anything like that. It is something that escapes the ordinary, something that breaks the patterns of what they have already lived or expected to experience. What you have is more than a simple exchange of feelings. It is an energy that is always present. This force, this energy, is sometimes stronger, taking over everything, making the heart race, the mind wander. Other times, it is calmer, gentler, like a breeze that passes by and leaves that good feeling in the air. But what matters is that it never disappears. Even in the most difficult moments, even when there are doubts or uncertainties, this energy is there, pulsing, alive. It may not always be evident, and it may even be challenging to understand, but it is real. It is felt in the soul, as if it were engraved in the very essence of both of you. This person may try to put what they feel into words, try to understand it with reason, but ends up getting lost. There's no way to explain something that is felt so intensely and genuinely. They look at what you have and somehow know that it is special, that it is different from any other experience they've had. There are no comparisons. There is nothing that comes close to what you share. It's as if, no matter how much they try to move forward, something always brings them back to you. And it is not out of attachment or neediness or any other superficial reason. It's because they know deep down that this connection is rare, it is precious, and above all, it is irreplaceable. You are unique without a doubt, and the bond between you is something that goes beyond the ordinary. There is a chemistry, a rare harmony, that is hard to find in any other person. And the most interesting part is that they feel it too, even if they are still trying to fully understand what it means. They noticed in you something that goes beyond the superficial, characteristics so striking, so unique, that made you occupy a special place, not only in their heart but also in their mind. Perhaps they cannot describe what changed, but it is clear that something deep is being born. If you pay a little attention, you will see in the small things they do, in the words they choose so carefully, or even in the silence that sometimes settles, that a new energy is emerging between you. It is something subtle but transformative, that is changing the way they see you, influencing every interaction, and creating an even stronger and more significant connection. Since that first moment your paths crossed, they began to realize that control over these encounters was not in their hands. It wasn't something they chose, it simply happened, as if an invisible force were guiding each meeting, a force that transcends logic and human understanding. Every time you meet, whether physically or through a more subtle connection, they feel something different, a vibration that touches deeply in their being. These moments, no matter how unexpected or unusual, never go unnoticed. On the contrary, they leave deep marks on their soul, signs that seem to carry a greater meaning, something that goes beyond what the eyes can see or the heart can immediately understand. Over time, they started to pay more attention to these meetings, observing how they arise unpredictably, almost as if they were carefully orchestrated by something beyond human control. And you perhaps have noticed the same, noticing how the universe seems to organize these events with almost frightening precision, as if it were trying to convey a message that is yet to be deciphered. Each of these moments brings with it a feeling that there is something more behind it, something still in development, something that needs to be unveiled. It seems that, at every crossing of your paths, there is a hidden message, a subtle reminder that there are greater forces influencing your lives, shaping your destinies in ways you still cannot fully comprehend. These encounters, no matter how brief, carry an undeniable intensity, as if they were destined to happen, as if they were part of a larger plan that you are just beginning to discover. If you are wondering how this person sees you right now, know that something profound is happening. They have begun to see you differently, understanding how essential you are in their life, as if they have finally realized that you are someone who came to stay. This is not something simple, much less easy to digest. At the same time they recognize your value, it causes a certain confusion. You appear at key moments, those when everything seems uncertain, and your presence makes them question everything. What that presence means, what it reveals about your connection. If they could be completely honest with themselves, they would admit that what you have is something unique, something they still cannot put into words. It is a connection so strong, so constant, that it has become impossible to ignore. And this is what leaves them unsure of what to do, because what you have transcends common understanding. It is something that stirs emotions, that touches deeply. There is a sense of comfort in this bond. They have placed you in a place where they feel safe, almost as if they knew you would always be there by their side. This feeling of security does not come from promises or spoken words, but from the space you occupy in their life and heart. It is a space that they may not have left for anyone else, a space they didn't even know existed until you appeared. Now they are in a moment of introspection, trying to understand not only what this all means spiritually, but also why you are so intensely connected in a way that is impossible to deny. The truth is, there is an underlying current between you, an energy that often goes unnoticed, but when noticed, reveals an almost palpable tension. This tension did not appear out of nowhere. It is the result of barriers that consciously or unconsciously, you both are raising to protect something that seems essential. Perhaps it is an attempt to safeguard a vulnerability that neither of you fully understands. And it is precisely this invisible barrier that complicates communication between you, making dialogue more difficult than it should be. Curiously, this situation affects you more than you are willing to admit, or even more than this person can perceive. You are a person with strong, assertive, and expressive energy. Your presence does not go unnoticed, which makes it easy for this person to pick up on what you feel, even without a word being said. It's as if your energy speaks for you, conveying emotions that, at times, you try to hide. Your presence is so powerful that even in a simple message or call, the other person captures what you really feel. Whether through the tone of your voice, the choice of words, or even the subtle signals you emit without realizing it, they can understand what is going on inside you. This intensity leaves you exposed, vulnerable, because it is hard to hide what you really feel. And this person, over time, has learned to decipher you. They observe every detail, even those you believe to be hidden, because the connection between you has taught them to be like this. They have learned to interpret the nuances of your behavior, to see what is behind every word and gesture. But it is essential to recognize that this person also plays an important role in this dynamic. If they were completely honest, they would admit that their actions, or lack thereof, also feed the frustration that sometimes arises between you. There are moments when they prefer to let things take their natural course, without pushing or demanding anything. Perhaps because, on a deeper level, they feel there is something greater guiding this connection, something beyond both of your conscious control. It is as if an invisible force always pushes you back together, regardless of the circumstances or obstacles that arise. You have reached a point where things have significantly changed between you. They have begun to see you in a completely different way, as if suddenly, everything has become clearer. Before, they did not allow themselves to truly understand what was happening between you, perhaps because it was easier that way, to keep things on the surface, without questioning too much. But now, something inside them has changed. It is as if they have removed a blindfold from their eyes, and now, all that was hidden or that they avoided facing is right in front of them. What was once just an intuition, a vague feeling, is now a reality they can no longer ignore. This is generating a storm of feelings within them, something they cannot simply push away. No matter how much they try to focus on other things, you're still there, present in their thoughts. They are anxious, trying to understand why this connection between you is so strong. These feelings are intense and do not go away. They are always there, making them wonder what is really happening between you. And this is leading them to reflect deeply, to question what you have together. They know they cannot simply move on without better understanding what it is they are feeling. No matter how much they try to divert their thoughts, you remain there, occupying a special place in their mind and heart. And if you feel that these words make sense, it is because, at this exact moment, they are going through these internal changes. They are trying to understand the complexity and depth of the bond you share. Everything they thought they knew about the two of you is being reviewed, reassessed, and with that they are beginning to see you in a completely new way. They are going through a complicated time, an internal process that requires special attention. It is not that they are afraid of you, but rather of the intensity of the connection that exists between you. This connection is so strong that it leaves them feeling lost, not knowing exactly how to deal with everything they are feeling. There is something between the two of you that has not yet been fully revealed, a kind of mystery that makes them feel insecure. They want to understand better. They need it to feel more secure about what you have. They realize that there is a pattern repeating in your relationship, something that constantly repeats itself, as if you were caught in an endless cycle. This brings a certain comfort, it's true, but also generates silent anguish. They find themselves in a dilemma, between what they know and what they do not know, between moving forward or staying where they are. This doubt, this fear of what might happen, makes them hesitate. They are caught between the desire to move forward and the fear of staying in the same place. When you are apart, they feel somewhat lost, as if trying to put together an emotional puzzle that does not make sense. They want to understand what all of this means, what this connection really represents. The intensity of the emotions they feel scares them, and makes them want to build barriers, in an attempt to protect themselves from what they do not know if they can control. But deep down, they know that you are feeling all this too. They feel that, just like them, you avoid fully showing your feelings. Perhaps it is fear of getting hurt, of exposing yourself too much. This retention of emotions makes everything even more difficult, more painful. It is as if there is an invisible force preventing you from fully surrendering. Even when you are distant, this connection between you is powerful, almost unbreakable. The attraction is so strong that, even when apart, you continue to feel each other's presence intensely, almost palpably. They are going through a whirlwind of feelings, even if you do not notice all this. Especially after any interaction between you, whether a simple message, a shared photo, or just the fact of being physically close. Each of these situations ignites a flame of protection in their heart because they fear giving themselves completely. This fear is not because they do not feel something for you, but precisely because what they feel is so deep that it leaves them vulnerable. Whenever you connect, even briefly, they wonder if you feel the same. They wonder if this constant convergence between you, orchestrated by the universe, has a greater meaning. Deep down, they know that there is something special between you, something that goes beyond the ordinary, but that always seems to run into an invisible barrier, causing one of you to pull away. This movement of approaching and distancing makes the next interaction even more complicated because they fear that if they open up completely, they will not be able to handle the pain of waiting until your paths cross again. They recognize this dance between the two of you, this emotional roller coaster that makes them feel exposed and out of control over their own feelings. All they want is to fully trust their own feelings and yours too. But this oscillation between being close and pulling away makes them feel helpless, as if they are stuck to something bigger than they can control. And even though they sometimes seem distant or indifferent, it does not mean that they are not affected by everything that is happening between you. On the contrary, they feel every moment intensely, every word that was not said, every look they try to hide. It is as if they are trapped on a roller coaster, where the ups and downs are so intense that they can hardly express in words all they feel. This difficulty in expressing feelings, both on their part and yours, creates a disconnect between you, something they are struggling to understand and overcome. They are going through an internal turmoil that consumes them intensely, something that, no matter how much they try to hide, is always there present. The lack of control over this situation is what anguishes them the most, a feeling that only grows with each passing day. This lack of control makes them constantly reflect, plan every detail with extreme precision, in the hope of predicting what will happen the next time you are together. But the problem is that this desire to control what is uncontrollable ends up generating an anxiety that dominates them, creating a deep internal imbalance. They are on the verge of an emotional breakdown because they simply do not know what to expect from the connection you share. They want you to understand what is going on in their heart, but the fear of opening up is so great that sometimes they become paralyzed, unable to express all they feel. Even with the intensity and depth that exists between you, there are feelings they have never been able to truly share, emotions that remain locked away. And this, over time, becomes too heavy an emotional burden for them to carry alone. The lack of clarity in the connection you have is leaving a void in their life, something they cannot fill no matter how hard they try. The relationship you have as it is, leaves them exhausted, as if they are always waiting for something more meaningful, something that truly completes them, that fills this void that consumes them. They are tired of living this connection in fragments, in a fragmented way, as if they were constantly expecting something greater that never comes. In the rare moments when they can stop and reflect, the questions begin to arise in their mind. How do you see this whole situation? How do you really see them? They have so many questions, so many doubts, and at the same time, this questioning process makes them feel even more lost and vulnerable. They are not sure if they will find the answers they are looking for, and this uncertainty only increases the weight on their shoulders. Now they realize that this cyclical energy that exists between you is starting to affect their life in a real way. They are beginning to question important things, not just for themselves, but also for God. They want to know if you feel the same, if you are also going through this introspection, this process of questioning and searching for answers. Life is full of surprises, isn't it? Suddenly, someone crosses your path, and without you realizing it, everything begins to change. It's that feeling that somehow you were destined to meet. It's not something that can be easily explained, but you feel deep down that this person has a special role in your life. And probably you have already gone through this, that feeling that their presence is not by chance, that there is something greater behind this encounter, something that goes beyond what the eyes can see. This connection you share is not something shallow or fleeting. It is something deep, that moves you both intensely. It is as if, without needing to exchange a word, you understand each other perfectly. And this can be a bit scary because when something is so strong, there is that fear of diving into the unknown, especially when what is at stake is something spiritual. But no matter how much you try to keep things under control, this energy that exists between you reveals itself in ways that can no longer be ignored. The other person feels this too. They know that your meeting was not just a coincidence. Now they find themselves in a dilemma, trying to understand what role you will play in their life. Are you here to stay, to be a constant presence? Or perhaps you are the person who appears and reappears, depending on the paths life takes? Or who knows, you are the key to helping them become a better version of themselves. These are questions that inevitably arise when the connection is so strong. Even if they haven't said anything directly, you have probably noticed that something has changed. They started looking at you differently, questioning things that once seemed so clear. And that is exactly where the challenge lies. How should they deal with this relationship from now on? Does it go beyond the physical and the romantic, entering a more energetic and spiritual dimension? The truth is that somehow, they feel that you are different from everything they have ever experienced. And until they can understand what you really mean to them, this restlessness will continue. It may be that they are looking for answers, reflecting in silence, trying to decipher this dynamic that seems so complex. And in this process, you may have noticed some distancing, perhaps a certain absence. But somehow, it seems that the universe is determined to bring you closer together, whether through encounters or connection that transcends any physical distance. These encounters, even if brief, leave a deep mark. Each moment between you seems to be a piece of a larger puzzle, which is slowly fitting together and revealing a bigger picture. And even if it is hard to put all this into words, if they could be completely honest with you, they would probably say that they have already understood who you are and what you represent to them. There is a bond between you that seems unbreakable, something that withstands time and circumstances. Now, the big question remains, what will be the next step? How should they move forward with you? Until these questions are answered, they will continue to see you as someone special, someone who, no matter how much time passes, will always have an important place in their heart. So if you also feel this intense connection, this attraction that seems to have no explanation, and if you have already wondered why everything is so confusing and at the same time so right, know that there is a greater reason behind it. Perhaps it is time to pay more attention to the signs, to the unspoken words, and especially to the emotions that arise when you are together. It may be that you are facing something much bigger than you imagine, something that God in His infinite wisdom has set in motion for you to meet and who knows, discover a greater purpose together. Allow your spirit to absorb these words and feel them resonate deeply within you. The universe wishes the best for you and will ensure a positive outcome, no matter what your choice is. Type, I absorb, receive, and accept my destiny and all that the universe has to offer me. To claim this message and the blessings contained in it for yourself, leave a positive comment for other viewers who might need a boost of positivity in their day. The universe sees this as an act of kindness. Let's lift each other up and create waves of good energy together. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe now and stay tuned for the important message waiting for you in the next video. May God and the universe illuminate your steps with peace, love, and faith. Amen.